Hello everybody and welcome to this lovely sunny day here in Vardenfell. Grizzly Pig here, and today's video I am going to be giving you top 5 tips for ways you can better increase your survivability in battlegrounds. So let's get into it. So in position number 5 we're going to be talking about armor. So there's a couple of things to cover, but first of all, the different classes of armor that you wear are going to impact how well you mitigate damage. So heavy armor is going to give you the most armor, which is going to be the best thing for you if you want to survive, but will probably not be best for you if you're playing like a Nightblade, for example. A character that's just going to do Mega Burst is going to be much better off taking medium, for example. And then if we look at medium, I don't think I have any medium on here at the minute, but there we go. We got a medium piece of armor there. It provides a medium value of armor, so relatively good damage mitigation. And light armor is going to provide you the least amount of armor. And then also you're going to look at your set bonuses as well. So different sets are going to provide you different amounts of survivability. So one of the best sets that I'm running at the minute is the Hist Sap set here. And this is great because it heals you when you get disabled, gives you max health. The Pariah set is also an amazing set. The more damage you have taken, the more physical and spell resistance you're going to have. These are two great sets. Another great set that you can craft very easily would be the Toe Rugs set here. You can craft this for only 3 traits. And this is going to provide you armor, health, as well as a really amazing 5-piece set as well. It increases the potency of your enchantment and reduces the cooldown of it as well. So a great set. There are many great sets for survivability out there if you need more of that. We're going to look at traits as well. So traits, you're going to want to take things like impenetrable, sturdy, well-fitted, and reinforced. Those are probably the top 4 survivability traits that you can have in PvP battlegrounds, definitely. Oh, lastly as well, we need to look at the passives, because in each armor class you also have respective passives. So light armor is going to give you magicka related bonuses, and is going to give you some drawbacks as well, so take a look at those. I'm not going to go through them all. Medium armor has no drawbacks, but is mainly stamina related with the regen and maximum stamina, stuff like that. Heavy armor is going to be the best for survivability. It's going to give you more max HP and health regeneration as well, but there are drawbacks to that are mainly to do with mobility. So have a look at those, and that's it. Moving on. And next up, we're going to talk about potions and food. So these are 2 very important ones. So try and avoid using the basic potions. They're not going to give you much in the way of regen other than on the main stat, and they don't give you anything else other than that, like a buff or anything. So avoid those. Instead, what you should be using for your potions, the best one for sustainability is going to be the Tri-Stat potion, or Essence of Health. So Essence of Health can be crafted in many different ways, but the best one is going to restore health, magicka, and stamina, and also give you recovery for those as well. You can make these. They are not cheap to make. They use Columbine, but if you have these materials, definitely craft those and make sure you've got your alchemy leveled up to get the most yield out of that. Alternatively, you can buy them on the auction house. If you can pick them up for 600 to 650 a piece, then you're doing okay there at the minute. So these 2 potions are going to be the best ones for you for survivability. So talking about food, you might be using a food that only gives you maximum on stamina. If you're a stamina class, for example, and it gives you recovery, that's great. Recovery is also really important for sustain. But if you want to survive, you might consider taking a food that also gives you some max health as well. That's another thing you can do. There's a lot of great foods out there. It really depends on what class you're playing and whether you are magicka, stamina, or health predominantly in your build. So get the right food for you. That is very important. And next up, we're going to talk about abilities as well. So this is also kind of class dependent, but firstly, to keep things simple, a great heal to start off with that anyone can use is going to be a Vigor. Resolving Vigor particularly, this gives you a heal over time effect that lasts the last 5 seconds and is very powerful, but this also gives you minor resolve as well. This increases your physical and spell resistance for 20 seconds. So this is a very unique skill. Anyone can take this and everyone should take this. And then moving on to class skills, if you are a Templar, of course, you've got a very easy time because you've got a lot of heals to choose from. But if you are, say, a Sorcerer, for example, then you don't have heals, then you can slot Vigor, certainly, but also think about other ways you can get your healing, like the Twilight Tormentor has a morph that also can give a nice burst heal. You also have a shield as well that you can take advantage of. So that's going to be the ward, Conjurer's Ward, or whatever that one's called. Shields are also going to be very powerful. So think about your abilities. If you're not surviving very well, then definitely take healing or shield abilities you can stick on your back bar. Or if you're running a 1 bar, then you should at least have Vigor and then maybe another healing ability like a burst heal or a shield or something like that. Next up, we're going to be talking about team play. So here, the idea is that if you play with your team, stay near your team, you're going to do a lot better in Battlegrounds. If you are playing with a pre-made team, like with your friends or whatever, you're going to get a nice balance of different types of classes, a nice support class that's going to buff everyone and debuff the enemy, nice DPS, a couple of DPS there, and then a healer is going to be great. And stay with your team at all times so that you can get the most out of these buffs and debuffs. That's a basic min-maxing rule there for the Battlegrounds. If you are not with your team, then you are not going to be taking advantage of all that this advantage has to offer. And of course, it is a lot easier to capture flags and other objectives like that if you are with your team. So next up, we're going to talk about something I like to call BIDWAM, and this stands for Block, Invisibility, Dodge, Wall, Awareness, and Move. This is something you're going to need to practice always in Battlegrounds. And the first 3 are going to be dependent on what class you're playing, your playstyle, and your armor weight class as well. So basically, if you are using more heavy armor, then blocking is going to be much more effective in a lot of cases against the enemy. If you are a rogue or you're a vampire, it's going to be very easy for you to go invisible. This is going to be very effective against you being beamed while you're moving from one place to the other or just hanging around in an area. And then dodging, of course, and this is going to be better if you're wearing medium armor, easier to do. And of course, there are also abilities. Some of them cannot be dodged. Some of them cannot be blocked. For example, we have Radiant Glory that it cannot be dodged through. And then also for the Templar, there is abilities that can't be dodged, blocked through or whatever as well. Like the Spear cannot be blocked. So there are abilities like this for other classes. So have a look through those. That is a video on itself. So we're not going to cover all these abilities, but learn those. That's another good reason why it's very good to play all the different classes at least a little bit to get to know their abilities and which ones can be blocked, dodged, etc. The next 3 things are going to be things that every class can take advantage. So Wall is basically the idea that if you are being attacked and you need to get out of a fight, you can use the terrain to create line of sight between you and your enemy to create distance. They cannot see you behind walls unless they are using the ultimate as a vampire, of course, or something like that. So use the terrain to your advantage. You can also use it to charge up attacks. You can use it to anticipate an enemy coming around a corner and slap them in the face with an ultimate or something like that. That's a really great thing that you should never overlook. Then we're talking about awareness. So this is always, again, so when you're fighting, don't tunnel vision on one enemy. Always be looking around, moving that camera around when you're moving from point A to B. Look up, look down, look everywhere. And that way you're going to have a much better chance of surviving and not just being sniped out of nowhere by an enemy. And then last one in this is going to be movement. So always keep moving. If you are actually moving from A to B, that's easy. You're already moving. But if you are standing still, don't ever actually be standing still. Always be shuffling left to right, jumping, or just moving around the general area, whatever. Even if you're trying to capture an objective, this is very important. Keep moving always. If you made it this far, I'd like to say a big thank you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like this. It would help my channel out a lot. I also do videos where I talk more in detail about my builds, as well as other Elder Scrolls Online content, guides, discussions, etc. Please feel free to ask questions or say hi in the comments, as I do reply to all of them when I can. Thanks again and see you next time.